Yo boys, back with another video. Today we're going to be doing some good old-fashioned sub-rogue. We are playing the flag build, and I do have a little bit of sinuses, so I might sound a little bit different. That being said, we're going to try to get some dubs. Now I did try a little bit of games with another build, but overall it wasn't that great. It did do an okay amount of burst, but it's just consistency. You need somewhat consistent. So we are facing an Ellie and a Resto Druid, which means we're probably just going to run Death from Above. And anytime you face a Resto Druid, you kind of have to go the Druid. It doesn't matter what you're playing. When you face a Resto Druid like this, you at least have to go them in terms of swapping on them. Otherwise, you'll never be able to kill anything. That's how you should be killing people. When a Resto Druid now, since they're so broken in terms of healing, you pretty much have to go them. You have to go them and you have to get cooldowns. The main target is normally going to be Resto Druid and then the other target because Resto Druid, they do die. Um, especially if you have two DPSs on them. But if you do not go Resto Druid, they'll easily out heal and then they'll just dampening and then it's just not going to be fun. So here we'll just open, get a Rupture up. We'll feint because we know he's going to rake. Anytime a Resto Druid opens, they normally rake. Um, nice. So I ended up just pre-lassoing his, or pre-feigning his stun anyway. So here we're just getting combo points. It's not like we're doing much here. We're just pretty much waiting for the Druid. We're just going to gouge him here. Yep, nice. So he opens here. We're going to immediately get on this guy. He shouldn't be able to do much to peel from us. So we do a Cloak the Hex here. We're doing big damage. Huge damage right now. He just doesn't know what's hitting him. And we're still going to keep going through the damage here. Again, we can swap right about now here. So we get combo points. Immediately swap to this guy. We can bomb him here. This is where we do max damage. This is where we can also blind him. Use our thing here. So again, just doing maximum output. We're going to gouge him here. And then off this we can kidney, or we can cheap shot. So off that we cheap shot. Still doing massive damage here. We're going to cheap shot again. Okay, so he finally gets Iron Bark, but we got a lot of cooldowns there. We're going to put a Rupture up on this guy. This is where we're going to run. So as you can see, we have no Cloak, we have no Vanish, we have pretty much nothing. So there's no point of us being out there. He is lassoing me. Lassos aren't the worst, case scenario, because they are going to be doing more lasso than, damage. So here we're just going to put a Rupture up. At this point, we're getting combo points, and we're kind of just running, because that's really all we can do. He's probably going to bash me here, so I'll feint. At this point, again, we're just getting ready. We're going to kill the totem when we can. We're going to kick the clone. So here, you always look for them kicks on the clone, because they can save you a lot of time. This is where we're going to kidney shot. This is where we do our big go here. Doing massive damage. He might try to hex me. We'll see what happens. And we end up taking him out. So our Druid helps us out with the extra kill here, and we end up taking him out. Again, that's how you do it right there. That was a perfect game at around 2K through 2100. That is just the perfection. You gotta look for the DRs. Number one, a lot of people don't understand how I know what to do next, and it mainly just comes down to DRs. You gotta have a DR tracker. I talked to somebody that wasn't running a DR tracker. You have to have it. It is a must. You need a DR tracker. It is 100% a must. That way you know if you can stun, because the main thing as a sub rogue is CC. We literally were able to blind him, and keep in mind, I did have my death mark on him, but I switched it, because with your death mark, you still have a few seconds before it procs or it does any damage to where it breaks your blind. So the reason I vanished Shadows right there when I blinded is because I still had one more stack of my, Death Stalkers. So definitely keep in mind while you're doing this, when you're gonna blind somebody, make sure to shadow strike the target that you're going. That way your blind doesn't break. I've had it a lot. I wish it would just break all blinds like that's like normally it would, but it doesn't anymore for some reason. I don't know who thought that would be a good idea. So whenever you're using your shadow strike, make sure you get all the stacks off before you blind, or switch it to another target. That's why I usually vanish. But you don't really want to waste vanish for it, but you'd rather just finish it. So here we're facing Resto Shaman and a BM Hunter. It looks like he did get me out, but we are going to get a re-stealth again. So here we're going to look for the Hunter here real quick. So it looks like we get him right here. Again, the sat macro coming in use. I'm actually going to vanish here. We'll immediately blind. We'll get on this guy right now. Doing big damage. We'll try to sap off that. Nope, can't. Okay, so immediately get back on this guy here. Even if it's only for a few seconds, as you can see, our damage is going to skyrocket really quickly. And you'll be surprised at the amount of damage that we can do. Unfortunately, we didn't have a step to get to him here, but that's alright. So again, doing big damage. We'll gouge him here. We'll put a Rupture up on him. We'll go back to the Hunter here because he's off DR. We'll kidney shot him just to keep some damage rolling. We'll go ahead and Rupture him as well. So we're going to feint. Pretty much anytime they're bursting and they're on you, you want to be feigning, because it's way too good of a CD not to use. It's pretty much a wall. So at this point, we're getting common points. We can go on the Restless Shaman pretty much like right now, so we're going to get on him right now. We're doing massive damage. Still doing big dam. We're not really doing too much, though. We're just doing enough where we can do a little bit of damage. So here we're going to Death from Above just to get to him. We're going to feint as well. Again, using feint off CD is just really good to do, especially when you're taking a lot of dam. This guy did batch, which is not the best case, so our guy gets CC. We'll go ahead and invasion here, why not? We're not going to step, and the reason we're saving step is because we're going to save it for a stun or a knock. So here, we can go on the Shaman with the stun, and again, we're just doing big damage. Just doing as much damage as possible, and we just like that. That's why you save step. You know, every Shaman like that is going to knock you every stun, or every other stun, pretty much. So the reason we didn't step there is exactly like so. You have to be able to use that step to get to your target, and that's pretty much all there is to it. So here, this is where we can just trinket and kill. So pretty much another game where that's just how it goes. An S tier spec gets absolutely obliterated. Now, Restless Shamans aren't that great, to be fair. But when it comes down to BM Hunters, and the reason we went Restless Shaman a lot there is because we know Restless Shamans, all they have is Trinket and Wall. They're pretty much the Shadowlands version of how a healer should be. But now healers have like 30 different cooldowns. Alrighty, so we got another warrior here. I did have a druid game that was actually the most legitimate. It was like an 80% damn game that we actually won. So I might end up posting it. It depends. The thing is, I want to have more than just a few clips. Because, you know, the goal is obviously at least get 5 to 7 clips and then make it around at, 10 through 15 minutes. I don't want it too long because I know a lot of people won't watch it the full duration. So I like getting, quick content out there, something you can just put on and watch in 12 minutes and get it done with. Because, realistically, I don't really expect new people to watch my channel and watch the whole duration of the video. So, we are facing an armed or a fury warrior, which means we're running disarm. So, this is another game where it's going to be very hard to win. Just sub rogues just struggle a lot with a lot of these classes. So you'll see that we will definitely struggle. We'll sap his ward off here, then we'll sap him. We'll get up on top of him here, big damage here. We'll trinket this and we'll resap. Never mind, so we can't resap. So nice, so we get pretty much everything we need, and we get his trinket, perfect. After this, we're just going to rupture him when we can. We're going to try to get a restyle. Always look for them restalls when possible. So here, we'll put a rupture up here. We'll disarm his burst as well. So we did pre-feint here, and his Blade Storm's kind of just destroying us. He Angels Air, so that's not bad for us. At this point, we can Kidney Bomb, or Stun Bomb. So big damage here. Off this, we'll blind him, so blinding immediately. Again, off this, we're going to sap. So off this, we're going to Vanish Sap. Big damage on him. Oh no, what? Okay, I thought he didn't have Trinket. He must have just used his, racial. Again, doing big damage. I want to proc his Guardian, but it looks like we're not going to be able to do that. So here, we're going to put a Rupture up on the healer. Keeping Ruptures on both targets is just good to do, because you never know when we're going to be swapping. He did Enrage the Fear, so here we're just going to Evasion this on every CD. He's probably going to get Incap Fear, yep. So here we're going to gouge off if we can get to Dispel on the Fear here. So we're going to go for a Re-Stealth if possible. It looks like we cannot. So here we'll go for a gouge just to take off shield, then we'll immediately stun off this. Big damage on him. Again, just doing damage just to see if we can get a cooldown. Most likely we're not going to get much, but here we'll stun the warrior. Put a Rupture up on him. Put a Rupture up on the healer again. Go ahead and feint since we're behind a pillar here. We'll also use our vial as well. So again, you're just getting your Shadow Dance, and this is how Sub Rogue is played. It's just do your goes, get Shadow Dance back, and somehow make it work. Okay, so there's that. And again, they do my burst damage in less than a global. I actually disarm again and avoid storm. That kind of sucks. Here we'll gouge his shield off. Stun the warrior here. Big damage. Looks like we can't really do much here. But we'll just keep doing damage into it just to get our Shadow Dance back because we kind of need it. So here we'll Rupture again. We'll feint as well. We're just dead. We are dying to air. This is so unfair. Big damage on him still. Trying to do something here, but he's not really. Oh, nice. So we get wall. So at least we get something on my blades. At least we get one cooldown. Normally I wouldn't get a single cooldown from a warrior because they were just broken. But so here we're gonna kidney shot. We'll cheap shot since he actually just fades it anyway. Nice. So we get his trinket. We are kind of looking in trouble though. I'm not gonna lie. Here we'll gouge this guy here. Never mind. It just didn't want to go off. I pre-feint the fear here. We'll disarm him this time. We finally get to disarm. Fortunately, we can't do much at this point, honestly. I'm not gonna lie to you. So here we'll just vanish. Normally you would save vanish for when you can, when you blind, but we really don't have a choice to do so. So off this, we're gonna try to get a re-stealth here, if he just lets us. And then we're gonna try to sap. So, we're gonna try to sap now. Please? Okay, never mind, it just didn't want to work. Here we'll kidney shot. Here we'll stun. Big damage here. We'll DR blind, just to keep the pressure going here. We'll also gouge off that. Fortunately, we just don't do enough damage to actually be able to kill anything. Well, here we'll just disarm his burst. That's all we can really do. We'll put a rep trap on him again. Put pretty much everything we can just to not see. And again, this is just the difference between an S tier spec and a B tier spec. People think sub rogues are broken, but I'm telling you, you face any actual good spec and they'll never lose a single game ever. Should never happen. Here we'll gouge this thing off here. Kidney shot. Stun this guy here. Hopefully we can get a fear. We'll see what happens though. Stun him here. Big damage. Huge damage still. Unfortunately, I am feared. Big damage here. And we take him out, baby. Again, another game unwinnable. And we end up taking him out back to back. So, that's really all there is to it. Again, the game looks like it's over, but it really isn't. And that's really all it comes down to. Just go for your CC chain and just keep doing damage. A lot of the times, I don't kill people in stuns. You normally won't. That's how you'll kill somebody. If you look at almost every game, sub rogue is no longer killing a stun. They just don't do enough damage. So you're just pretty much looking to damp them out or do enough flag damage to where you're able to stack it high enough to where you actually do damage. That's pretty much all you're doing. So alrighty, we have a Windwalker and a Mistweaver. Not a very fun to face. The main reason Mistweavers are so good versus sub-rogues is because they can use stuff in CDs. Any healer or any DPS that can use something in a CD automatically counters sub-rogue. That's just how it is. So like Windwalkers, they don't necessarily counter rogues. But yeah, so you have to go both. A lot of people don't understand. I just typed it to this guy. In 2v2 arena, you have to go both targets. As a sub rogue, there's not any you always go more than one target because you don't do enough damage to kill one. So you have to pretty much stack your flag up and damp them out. That's how you win games. You'll never kill someone normally versus anybody above 2k CR will not die for a very long time. So here we'll open on this guy here. He just gets to use whatever he wants. We'll just trinket this. We'll also use our evade. Get him resap if we can. Nice. Got the resap. Resap again. Stun him off this. Restun. And we take him out. Again, ladies and gentlemen, you watch the Xvic for a reason, and that is how we do it. The one class that actually dies. And there we go. Boom, a very quick game. Just as I said, anybody above 2k CR is not going to die like that, and that guy didn't click a single cooldown. And these guys are literally 1500 CR, even though we're 2k MMR. So, I contradicted what I just said. Normally, he would use an actual CD. He would use Karma, Wall, Port. Thankfully, he decided that he didn't want to use a cooldown, so we got the free win. So I appreciate it. That's the one class as a sub rogue that you can kill like that. It's not a warrior, not a feral druid. It's the one spec that I can actually kill. And that you rarely face a Windwalker in 2v2 arena, but when you do, it can a lot of the times we get the Windwalkers are the better version of sub rogue. But that being said, let's get into another game and see how that goes. So again, already got another queue. We'll see what happens here. Another MM Hunter, so not very fun. We definitely don't like MM Hunters. They're very strong at the moment, especially with their Black Arrow consistency. There's a lot of S tier specs. MM, BM, Arms, Fury, Elemental Shaman, Shadow Priest, Frost Mages. Yeah, I'd even say Demon Warlocks are S. There's just so many specs right now that are very good, and you see a lot of them. Now in 2v2 Arena, I'd say Warriors definitely control the 2v2 Arena by a mile. At the moment, Rogue kind of just sucks. You can play Outlaw RMP. That's the only thing I can suggest. Otherwise, you're kind of just making it work with an A tier spec. There's not a single spec right now as a rogue that's S tier at all. You can play Outlaw, but nobody's playing it. It's just a dampener. That's all it is. Like that's why you saw it in the AWC. It's because they're just dampening. But overall, Rogue right now isn't actually good. Actually, it's like by far the worst spec in the game right now. So here we'll just open on him here. We'll gouge his thing off. Cause why not? He and Cat Fears. I'm not gonna shrink it because there's no point. Now I have to shrink it because I'm dying to air. Here we'll disarm him. Can he shot? Get up on him here. Big damage. Huge damage here. Massive damage. Big damage. So here we're gonna get a feint off. Always getting those feints off when we can. We'll kick this guy here. Got a full kick. Big damage. Nice. So we get his heal. We get swap. We got all of that. And we got his angel. So we got a lot of cooldowns there. So not bad at all. I vanish his go here. And then we're immediately going to stun the guy here. Fortunately, he's just not coming out of form. So we're waiting for him to come out of angel form because he's low. Immediately kidney shot him here. We're doing our burst damage on him. We're going to try to kill him if we can. Nice, good fear by him. I actually ended up overlapping, over it. I can't really move my character at the moment. We'll disarm him here, because why not? Put a rupture up on the healer here. So nice, we get a full rupture. He's coming off the R here in a second. We get trapped here. Immediately get on this guy here. Big damage. And hopefully we can kill him. Please help me do damage, man. See, normally your healer would be doing what the other healer's doing in damage wise, but my guy just doesn't really want to help me with dam, which is a really bad thing that he's been doing in the games. Normally your teammate would be helping, but alright. I don't really expect to get helped by these players, to be honest. We're pretty much dead here, I think. We'll try to survive here. We'll stun him here. Flag. Doing big damage. Stun him again. Massive dam. And we end up taking him out. Again, we do it alone. That's all we needed. And there we go. Another W by the X. I actually faced him when I was playing with the Wrestler Druid and we lost. And that's just the difference between the healers.